Two different starting points last week. So we had a 9:15 and a 10:45. And so because we were in different groups last week, I thought I'd take a time to introduce ourselves again real quick. So just kind of like name and then how you ended up at Hamilton Hills. And so just we'll do what we did last week. We'll kind of do a brief one. And I'll introduce our team first so you know who all they are. But Tim and Lori Wilson in the back. Lori actually brought the snacks. You can thank her if you like them. If not, then Tim brought them. And then my wife, Shelly, is in the back somewhere. She was doing name tags.
Wave hi, Shelly.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and then Chris and Shauna Gordon going to be helping a lot for next week with our lunch with the leaders. And then Terry Justice is outside with the name tags. You probably saw him because you got your name tag coming in. And then we have two couples. One couple has COVID. So they haven't been here last week because they thought they had it, and then this week it was confirmed. So, Andy and Deanna Golson are part of our team. And then another couple just had a baby, Jeff and Allison Perky. And so Jeff's one of our deacons as well. So they're staying home with the baby. So we've got a great team helping us. And then we're going to be able to meet a lot of our staff and other volunteers today that are helping out in different areas of the church. So why don't we start? Denise, I'll ignore you because you're going to be up later. But why don't you guys start here and we'll kind of go across here.
My name is Blake. My wife Kendra will be in later. She's singing. And we found out about Hamilton Hills through friendship with Matt.
Okay.
And Denise.
I didn't really
That-
know you had that.
Now we have friendship with Denise.
All right. We'll get down to start at the top of the middle. We'll go down the middle section here.
Oh, okay. We're Andy and Vanessa Wilkins. This is our oldest, Josh. What else? I'm sorry. What
Just
other-
how you ended up at Hamilton Hills.
We had quite a few connections. We've been in the area for a while, and we're looking for a new church home that was here in Fishers because that's where we live.
Hi, we're Kyle and Chelsea Rutland. We found the church through my parents.
Oh, really? Okay. They go here then, or?
They used to. They moved recently.
Okay. Awesome.
Brian, Holly Deham, she's really good at Googling.
Yeah, that's how we found it too. We kind of Googled lunch and so. Then you guys are going to be introduced later, and that's our team. So why don't we start up here with the Kellys?
Michael and Erica Kelly. We got hooked up with Hamilton Hills through Matt Bissell. I was at Fishers High School getting chapels oriented for a football program and asked Matt to come over. I was looking for area youth pastors, and that's how we got connected.
All right, great.
Dave and Janet Frisbee and their daughter Julie, and we found Hamilton Hills through Amy and Travis Grant.
Okay.
To go here.
Grants came through our last starting point track. Okay.
Brendan and Jordan Riggs, and Jordan found them online and started watching sermons a while back, and we started coming here recently.
Okay. So was your first experience when we were all online services, or?
No, this was just about 2 months ago. Actually, Katie, who was in the class last week, invited us, and we know the Brants and the Frisbees, and we end up knowing a lot of people here, so
Okay.
it's kind of fun.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay. Well, last week we talked about spiritual gifts. So I'm going to kind of overview that real quickly. And then I'd love to have a few of you kind of share your top three. We won't have everyone, but let's a few of you kind of share your top three. But we talked a little bit last week about, well, we'll skip that slide. Gather, grow, and go. And so that's kind of our mantra here. And so, yeah, come on in, guys. Come on up at the front. We're going to make you come up the front. No? Okay. All right. Yeah, we know it's tight. We don't know how to social distance in the midst of kind of all this. But our mantra is gather, grow, and go. So we talked about that last week. And then we kind of walked through some spiritual gifts. So I was going to walk through some of these slides again. But confusing spiritual gifts with spirituality, that's not the case. But it's not like some gifts are more spiritual than others. We all have gifts that the Holy Spirit has given us. And so it's not one over the other. That's not my gift is an unreasonable excuse for doing what is needed. So it's like, well, my gift, I don't have the gift of giving. So I just won't give, or I don't have the gift of evangelism, so I'm not going to tell anyone about Jesus. And so the idea is that we all have responsibilities, but we have some giftings. But not having a gift is an excuse for not being a part of something. Knowledge is not so important that we neglect service, and spiritual gifts do not have to be spectacular. And I was going to actually have Shelley, if you can prepare you to read that section as well. But some gifts sound great, and it's like, we want to have those, but there's all different gifts. So I had a friend who was doing Strength Finders a few years ago, and so he kind of read through the book, which you're not supposed to do. He read through the book and found out, look at all the different things, the different strengths, and he wanted woo. And so he doesn't have woo, but he wanted woo. And so he took the test trying to get woo. And he didn't get it. So he took it again and actually scored lower. But he was trying to he wanted woo so bad. And I'm like, dude, that's not how you do the test. But so the idea is like not looking at the spiritual gifts and go, oh, actually, I want that. So I'll take the test like this. So this comes out as my spiritual gift. But Shelley, if you would read that, that'd be awesome.
Okay, 1 Corinthians 12:14. Except it keeps moving on me, so sorry. Okay. For the body does not consist of one member, but of many. If the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it any less a part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, sorry, I moved again. I do not belong to the body, that would not make it any less a part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would be the sense of hearing? If the whole body were an ear, where would be the sense of smell? But as it is, God arranged the members in the body you would not believe how frustrating this is. Okay. Each one of them as he chose. If all were a single member, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, yet one body.
Okay. So even that last statement is kind of the idea is that we all have different gifts and we're all part of the body of Christ. And so if we were all, if we all had the spiritual gift of, service and helps, we could do a lot of things, but we might not get some other things done. And so the idea is kind of we're all part of the body. We all have different gifts. And so as we talked about last week, you'll go on different you can go online and look at different spiritual gifts tests. The one we have, that we're using, these 16 are the kinds that we're looking at. And so I forget my third one. I know my first two are leadership and administration. I really forget what my third one is because it's been a couple years since I've done this. I want to say, I don't know. I won't even guess because, but I know my first two. But love to have a few of you kind of maybe share what your top three are and even what was actually, even before you do that, what was it like taking the test? Was it kind of like when you got what you got at the end, kind of what you came out with? Was it what you expected, or was it kind of anything? Was it surprising? Anything that came out?
There were some gifts that I thought I had.
Okay, so you thought you had some gifts and it didn't come out that way.
I was misplaced previously, I think.
Okay. That's awesome. Anybody else surprised or?
Mine have changed over the years.
Okay. Yeah, that can happen too. Yeah. Different experiences, different things will lead to kind of different things being formed. Yeah. Anybody else? All right. Well, anyone willing to share their top three?
I had administration, service, and teaching.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. Was that what you were expecting?
Service, yes. And then I guess I do, since I do a lot of office work, I guess admin
Okay.
makes sense. Yeah.
Had any teaching experience or?
Not really.
Okay. Okay. So came out as a gift, but untapped yet.
So I'm always happy to share my knowledge at work, so it could be through that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Administration, shepherding, and evangelism.
Okay. Awesome. That's great. Administration, shepherding, and evangelism. Okay. But you said you were misplaced before,
I
or?
used to teach Sunday school.
Okay. So you thought teaching would come out?
But I normally came up with my own lessons.
Okay.
Based off of an outline. So
Okay.
I think that kind of swayed the outcome.
Okay.
I like shepherding, mercy, showing, and serving.
Shepherding, mercy.
Mercy, showing, mercy.
Oh, showing mercy.
Mercy.
Okay.
And serving.
Okay. Yeah, my wife would tell you mercy never comes out very high for me. And so, and actually, when we were dating, the first time I took her to go meet our parents, we were playing a card game. And it's one of those things where if you get all your cards, you can go out and like stick everybody else with their cards, and you know, having cards is bad. So we played a practice round, and then she was the dealer, and I was like the last person. She was going last. And I've got a big family, so we kind of went around, and I went down and out the first time. And so here she's meeting my family for the first time. I totally stick her with all the cards. And so it's like, she was like, yeah. So mercy sometimes, even in games, mercy isn't always there. So yeah, people who have mercy, that's great, because I do not. We need that. How about a few more to kind of share what they got? And
I had discernment, service, and administration, which was not a surprise.
okay, so this again.
Service, administration, and discernment.
Okay, discernment. Okay, that's great. That's great. And we need people with discernment versus just kind of making decisions without that. So, frisbees. Let me pick on one of you guys. Whoever elbows the other the most can.
I think it was interesting that we both had mercy as
Okay.
one of the gifts, and I think age and life experience is what led us both there.
Okay. Okay, that's great.
And we both had exhortation.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting.
And then the difference went, he had serving and I had administration.
Okay.
Administrations, which is very much true.
Okay.
Mercy is at the top of my
Yeah. Well, even knowing Dave for years, just even I remember teaching Sunday school for all those years. So I thought on the service side, you know, just kind of remember that being true of you. So, yeah. How about one or two more? Love to.
I had exhortation, teaching, and administration.
Exhortation, teaching, administration. Okay. That's awesome. Were those any of those new or surprising?
Not really, I mean, that made sense.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I had to Google what exhortation was.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So what did Google say then?
Yeah. Well, no, it was just practical application of, principles.
Mhm.
Anybody have their wife take it for them? I came out highest on knowledge when I took it, but when she took it for me, she said I didn't know as much as I thought I did.
That sounds about right, yeah.
I had teaching, leadership, and faith.
Teaching leadership and faith. So faith's the first one that we've gotten today on that one. Okay. That's good. Any of those surprises or you've kind of
No.
okay. That's great. So any of these that weren't mentioned yet? Anybody have giving? Anybody have giving as a top three? Okay, one. Okay, awesome. How about hospitality? I don't know if I heard that. Okay, Lori. So our people helping out in serving. The Gordon's brought the food last week, and Lori brought the food this week. So of course the people with hospitality are taking care of that. So that's awesome. A practical application right there. So, anybody have wisdom? Do we do that one? That's kind of a hard one to kind of. That'd be kind of like it feels good to get it, but then you kind of when you have to say it, it's kind of like I don't know about that. So, all right. Well, any questions you guys have about spiritual gifts or anything we kind of did last week up to this point? All right. Well, great. Well, what we're going to do, just say it, honey.
How about you have people that came in introduce themselves since they didn't get to?
Oh, okay, yes. When we started off, if you came in a little bit late, which is totally fine, we kind of did name and then how you ended up at Hamilton Hills. So just would love to kind of just get because last week we had a little bit of a communication snafu. So we had a 9:15 group and we had a 10:45 group. And so we had two, we were kind of like, it was totally our fault. And so we kind of actually had two starting points last week. And so the whole group's together today. So if you were didn't get to introduce yourself today, just go ahead and say your name and how you end up at Hamilton Hills.
My name's Joe Wright, and Laura and I just moved here from Cincinnati, and over there we lived in Westchester and went to another Southern Baptist church called Lakota Hills, and so we were moving over here in search for churches that are part of the Southern Baptist Convention. Found this one. Started coming in November.
Okay. So just recently then, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Joe and Lauren, awesome. I grew up in Cincinnati, so I love Cincinnati. Skyline Chili, La Rosa's Pizza. Reds and Bengals. Bengals always been kind of disappointing, but all right.
We're the Pages, Luke and Katie. We've been back here late August, but I'm from Florida Keys, moving back home.
Okay.
We started coming to Hamilton Hills because we knew a mutual friend that knew Pastor Randall, and he reached out before we were moving, and we had driven past Hamilton Hills when we were here and stuff like that. So
Okay.
stopped in and haven't stopped coming.
So have you experienced hard winter yet, being from Florida?
Yeah, I spent 90 inches of snow my first winter up in the upper Adirondacks.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
This isn't winter.
Yeah. It's been mild so far, yeah.
This isn't winter.
Yeah.
This is just cold.
I spent 15 years in the Akron, Cleveland area, and so we get Lake Erie, Lake of Flick snow. So I was right on the southern tip of, so there's some winters we wouldn't get much, but way more than we get around here. Yeah, so it was like we bought a house. It was a corner lot, so we had the double sidewalks going around, looping around it. And so I was just about to buy a snowblower, and then we ended up getting a transfer here. And so it was kind of like, okay, not going to do that. So, all right, what we're going to do is for the next 20, 30 minutes, we're going to hear from several of our either staff or people who are different, helping out with different ministries. So I'm going to start off with Denise, and Denise Thistle. Some of you guys might know her. She's married to Matt. So when Matt talked about how intimidated he was by this beautiful, co-ed in college, this is Denise, his wife. And so Denise leads our First Impressions team. Is that right? Okay.
I'm part of yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, my name's Denise, and I didn't know Matt had shared that story, but believe it or not, he was very shy when I first met him in college, which is totally not what people think when they meet him now. But I get to be a part of our First Impressions team, and I'm looking forward to all the ministries that are going to come up here, or the different ministries that are going to be talked about, and things that happen throughout the week and on the weekends. And our First Impressions team is one of those ministries that takes place on the weekends, both services. And so as I talk about this ministry, I would love for everyone to think about their very first time that they came to Hamilton Hills Church. Now, I'm not going to ask for you to share out loud if it was good or bad. I'm hoping it was good. You're still here, so I'm hoping it was good. But our ministry, our team, gets to be a part of not just making people feel welcome and feel like they belong, but really it's removing any obstacle that someone might have that would hold them from coming to church or coming back to church. So, for example, if someone pulls up onto our campus and they can't find a parking spot, and I know it's different now with COVID and all, but if someone can't find a parking spot and they have my personality, I'm just gonna drive off and not stay. I mean, I planned on coming to church, but that made me feel a little uncomfortable. I'm gonna take off. If it's my husband, he'll come and he'll find he'll create a parking spot. You're like, are you sure that's grass? Like, oh no, it's gonna be fine. But everyone has a different personality, and so starting from the parking lot and then coming in, there have been questions that have, for someone that's their very first time, they've asked, am I allowed to take my coffee in the auditorium? I say, oh yes, of course. I mean, now they feel comfortable after weeks and months of coming. They're even bringing their sausage McMuffin in or something, but the very first time you come early just to make sure you find a spot and maybe have your coffee at home, not knowing if there's coffee here. So all the newness. And so we don't want someone to walk away because either a parking spot or they took time in trying to figure out where to drop off their kids, so then they missed a worship song that could have been the beginning of stirring their heart for the message. And we believe that the message is so important, God's word, and I love that the gospel is presented every week. That changed my life. I'm from California, and my mom had never heard the gospel, the good news that Jesus died on the cross and made a way for us to spend eternity with him. And so she heard it in a church service for the very first time, and that changed our lives. So I'm passionate about, okay, let's remove any barrier that someone might have, because the word of God is so important, and we get to be a part of that. Being friendly is part of removing obstacles. The last thing we would want is someone to say, yeah, I love the message, but the people were not nice, or I love the message, but I don't feel like I belong. And so by joining, if God's, tugging on your heart to be part of a ministry, and as you hear today, more of the ministries that will be presented, and if God tugs on your heart to join our First Impressions team, that's what you would be a part of helping remove those barriers for people. And also with our First Impressions team, we have ushers, we have lobby host, we have someone opening the door, greeters. And so if any of those things is something that you would be a part of, we'd love to have you. One of the things that, like I shared, when California changed my life was my mom hearing the gospel for the first time. And I can't imagine her not wanting to come back because someone didn't befriend her or someone didn't say good morning. And I think of, on the days that we come to church, and what a privilege it is for God to entrust us with whoever is walking through those doors. And I think I wonder if there's somebody in a different state. And I loved hearing where, if someone's from a different place, Ohio crew over here, Cincinnati crew. But I can picture someone in a different state that is probably praying for their 30-something-year-old son or daughter who has walked away from the faith. And they have been praying for years and years and years for them to come back to Jesus. And this adult child is living in a different state and decides one day to go to church. And what a privilege it is that, that parent is somewhere far away praying, but we get, God would entrust us to have that person come to church. And we know that when we bring somebody to church, if they're our neighbor or our friend, we want everyone to meet them. Hey, this is my friend, this is my neighbor, this is my coworker. But what if someone doesn't have that? What if someone doesn't have someone to introduce them to everybody? And so I love being part of this team. And as you thought about your first time coming, if it was an awesome experience, then if you join our team, then you're helping others have that awesome experience. And if you did not have such a great experience, then we still want you on the team because you can help make it a little bit better. But just happy to be part of this church, and God's working. And if you have any questions about more in detail about what First Impressions team is, I'd love to talk to you more about it. I'll be in the lobby if you have any questions even regarding the level of commitment. I know, like, okay, I want to get plugged in, but how many times a week does that entail and all that, or know more about it? I'd love to hear from you, and I'll be in the lobby after the service. Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Matt will often tell a story where there's a different church, but the pastors were kind of talking, and they had just somebody like in the parking lot team, but they were out at the curb, and they would just kind of wave to cars as they're going by. And there was a divorced mom that had shared custody, so she would drive to drop the kids off and always go past this church on the way back. And every week, these people are waving at her who don't have any idea who she is. So one week she decided, I'm just going to pull in. And pulled in and actually heard the gospel for the first time and actually accepted Christ. And so even though the parking lot team, you can be like, what does that do? It actually welcomes people in, or people that are maybe coming for the first time, kind of even knowing that. And so if you're here before COVID, we actually had a parking lot team that was actually kind of, doing a lot of that. And so we'll have different areas that, like Denise talked about. But yeah, every different area of service can really help out. So we've got a little bit of a change. So Elijah and Alyssa, I'm going to have you guys, I gave you a different time, but if you're able to come up now, that'd be great. These guys help out with our youth, and they're both volunteers, but let them tell you more about the youth and how you can be a part of that as well. And this is, because we got some people online. So this does nothing other than it helps them to hear.
So like Dave said, we're the Legglers. We've been going to Hamilton Hills for about 3 years now, and for 2 years we've been involved with the youth ministry. And for those that aren't familiar with the youth ministry, it really is just a place for the students who are involved here at Hamilton Hills to come and be part of the community of Christ and do that more on a level that they're able to, more so than like a weekend service. So we volunteer Wednesday nights, about 2 hours, and the students come. They hang out with their friends, and they hear a message from the youth director, and we break out into what we call huddle groups and just discuss the week, discuss the message, and break down, just make them think a little bit deeper than they are used to. I know from my personal experience in youth, I didn't really have positive adult reinforcements that were always there that I knew I could go to all the time. So that's one thing that made me want to get involved. Is just to be here every week for the kids, even if they come 50 out of 52 weeks and don't even talk to me, don't involve themselves in discussions. It's good that they know I'm here for them and willing to talk if they ever need to. And just having positive Christian adults that they can go to is always a good thing in the world that they go out to outside of these walls. So yeah, pretty much our ministry is taken up on Wednesday nights, the majority, but I know recently we've been better about setting up more events throughout the week. I know one thing they're doing right now is meeting at Tropical Smoothie on Thursdays and just working on homework together. And again, that's just another way that they can be in a community of other students that are Christians that are going to influence them more positively and grow together. They also have a few retreats throughout the year that they go on, and some nights they come to the church and have a movie night, or just little things like that that enforce the Christian values in their life. And that's pretty much it for the youth. Does anybody have any questions about that, or what it looks like to be a volunteer?
How would they, who would they contact if they're interested in helping out, or how do they go about doing that?
They could definitely talk to either of us, or Matt would be a great person to go to talk about getting more involved on Wednesday nights.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right. I was going to keep going. Lori's here, and a lot of you guys know Lori is Pastor Mark's wife, and she is kind of reassuming our leadership for our children's ministry recently. And so I'll let her talk about that.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to come and share our children's ministry. Perfect example this morning of how much we need help in the children's ministry is Shelly came in to relieve me, and I handed her my Bible and the lesson, and she kind of picked up where I was leaving off down there. So I think that there's no greater joy than to open up the Word of God and to teach young children about Him. And so that is the basis of what we do in the children's ministries. We want to share the love of Jesus from the time that they're little itty bitty and we're rocking them in the nursery. A lot of what we tell our nursery workers is you're not just really sitting there and rocking babies, but we encourage them to pray for them and pray over them and pray for their families. And that moms can rest assured that while they're sitting and hearing the Word of God preached to them, that they know that their child is being loved on and cared for. So there's nothing greater than the opportunity that we have to do that and share the love of Jesus. So if you are interested, there's 2 different opportunities that we have in our children's ministry. We, of course, have our Sunday morning time. We have 2 different worship services, and so we do 2 different worship services, but they're the same lessons that we teach both services. We have a large group time where the lesson is taught to them. We just did a relay, which I still feel like I'm out of breath a little bit from the relay because I was running with the kids doing it. And then they go into a small group time where we do break down the lesson. We call it apply it. So they hear the lesson. We always open up the Word of God because I want them to know that what we're teaching them is from the Bible, and the Bible is true, and that God wrote the Bible. And so we feel like that's so, so important. So we always have them open up the Word of God. So they're learning how to find those passages of Scripture. And then we're sending them to a smaller group where they're learning how to apply it. So it's practical conversations and activities that go along with the lesson that they learned. And then we have our foundations group on Wednesday night. We kind of call that like a mini VBS if you've ever attended a vacation Bible school before. It's fun songs and Bible memory and then scripture and games. And that's what our Wednesday night foundations group looks like. So we can always use extra help. And if the Lord is stirring your heart to come and work with littles, I would love to have the opportunity to talk to you. Deborah Scheffler is our assistant director. And so you can either grab her or myself, and we would love to talk to you more about volunteering in our children's ministry. So, do I answer questions or no?
Yeah, anybody has a question.
Does anybody have a question? All right.
Thanks, Lori. Yeah, I missed it. I was my mom ended up in the hospital this weekend, so I was in Cincinnati for most of the weekend, and I didn't get Lori's email back, but she emailed me last night apparently saying that she wasn't able to come this morning because they were short, and then they had 2 people call in sick this morning on top of that. And so it's like you said, I was like, well, if I have somebody come, like relieve you, could you come over? And she's like, yes. So my wife is kind of substituting for her for a few minutes. Can anybody see, is Daniel or Randall outside? Tim, go get them. I hope to have Daniel share as well, because we're doing, and hello to those that are online today with Starting Point. Up until COVID happened, we were just a live church. We didn't really have. We had things that we were taping. You could watch the message later on in the week. But when COVID hit, we kind of felt like we need to kind of do something different. And so Daniel and Brian, who's one of our he works here as well as he volunteers, kind of put our system together that we could actually do this online. And so I'd love to have Daniel, I don't know if he'll be able to come or not today with everything that's going on in the service. But that was kind of just one of those benefits of COVID, you got to look at positives that come out of it, but just that we are able to go online. And there's a lot of people who like one week there was like like thousands of people that actually had viewed the message. And so we're just, and even like when Shelly and I do it together, it's like there's one computer on for the two of us. And so just the reach we're able to have as a result of kind of just being online has been really good. And so just a real positive thing. And so we thought, we thought, because it was a big money expenditure. So we're like, okay, this is like May when we kind of started, and are we going to have, like, is it going to be worth it because we're going to, it's going to be over in like a couple months, and actually, yeah, we're still going. And so I remember my sister she's a teacher, and she went back in August for the first time, and she had St. Patrick's Day stuff all over the room still. And so, and all her plants were dead. But because everyone thought it was like, this is like a two week deal, okay, after a couple weeks, we'll kind of get back to normal. And it's still going on. And so, so I had these guys, on the 5 minutes, clip they're supposed to be walking in, but it didn't quite happen. So, Randall, you're up, bro.
You guys waiting on me?
Yeah, I'm telling stories, and but Randall's our discipleship pastor here. Leads two very important parts of what we do as a church: the connection groups and also Rooted. And so I'll have you talk about those, bro.
Dave, your email said 9:55. So, no, it's not your fault. I just wanted you to know that I was obedient today. I didn't want you as an elder to think I was bad. I'm early. I'm 9:52. Can't have an elder mad at me. So, is this working? Hello, testing. Oh, it's for online. Okay. Thanks, Juan. So, I'm Randall. Hey, guys. Nice to meet you. This is one of the coolest starting point classes I've ever seen. Meaning, it's been a while since we've seen this many new people in a room at one time. And so I feel like here at Hamilton Hills Church, God is really blessing us during this time. And if you say why, and you ask us pastors why, I think we would all be like, we have no idea. But I can tell you this, we do love the Lord. We love Jesus, and we so desperately want our church to be used by the Lord in mighty ways. And so as we go into 2021, it's exciting to see all your faces. I know I don't know everybody by name. I have been here for about 2 years. I have a wife. Her name is Kelly, and I have 4 kids, 14, 12, 8, and 7. The 2 little ones, I think they call them Irish twins. They're the same age for like a month around Christmas time. And I tell people they could break a terrorist down. So they probably need to enlist or something like that. But we're blessed, right? I tell people we're busy, broke, and blessed. And so, but we're thankful. God moved us to Indiana, 600 miles from Southern Virginia, to be a part of what God is doing here in Indiana. And so I would have never dreamed I'd have moved to Indiana. People say, why are you going to Indiana? I said, because the Lord's told me to go to Indiana. And they're like, well, most people leave Indiana and come to where you were in Southern Virginia or North Carolina. And so, but we have found Indiana to be a place that we call home, and we're glad to be here. So in the last 2 years, we have revamped our discipleship ministries. We have created a pathway. I see Alicia in here. I always embarrass her because she helped create the pathway. And that pathway is a pathway of next steps. And so if you're in starting point and you're checking our church out and you're like, man, I think I want Hamilton Hills to be my church home, and you want to partner with us to live for the glory of God in the world today, then you've taken your first step by coming to starting point. And then your next step is to go through Rooted. And Rooted is a 10-week discipleship experience. Rooted is offered on Sunday morning starting next week at 10:45 in this room. We have a team of Rooted guys who help lead through that. It's awesome. You've heard us talk about it. You probably are tired of hearing us talk about it, but we had over 200 people at the turn of the year go through Rooted, and we have countless testimonies of how God used that to even people who've been a Christian for a long time, to kind of help draw them back to the basics and kind of renew their first love and their heart for the Lord. And then also people who are young in their faith and they don't know a lot about the Bible. And so Rooted is like this 10-week process that just kind of helps you assimilate more into the life of the church. And that's at 10:45 starting next Sunday here. And then also on Wednesday night, we're looking at starting a group on Wednesday night. And so either one of those, please go online and register or see me about it, and I'll help get you signed up. The other thing that we have that's really important to your involvement if you really want to take Hamilton Hills Church serious, and that is to be in some kind of a small group, okay? Pastor Mark talks a lot about we're not a church with small groups, we're a church of small groups. And what we mean by that is quite simple. We don't want our group life to be just programmatic, just so you go and you learn something and then you go home. We want you to be connected into fellowship, have serious relationships with people, and to be caring and growing together, as a church body. So during the pandemic, just to give you an example, a lot of churches have struggled. We say here at Hamilton Hills Church, we didn't struggle that bad. You're like, well, what do you mean? We had over 450 people connected during the pandemic through our connection groups, through our small group ministry. You say, well, how do you come up with that number? I come up with that number because of the family units. All of the adults like you that have kids in those family units connected in connection group life, caring for one another, praying for one another, babies being born, parties being had, food being delivered, people in the hospital, all this stuff, all this care was happening through our connection group life. And so I encourage you to, check out our connection groups. I can help you find one that might seem right for your family or for you. And we'd be glad to kind of plug you in to a connection group. So you've been getting to know Dave and Shelley. Dave and Shelley help lead a connection group. I help lead a connection group. Elijah and I don't know what you're doing in here, man. You're like a patriarch here, dude. But I guess they've never been through Starting Point, so we made them go through Starting Point. But gotcha. So they lead a connection group. We have people from young to old that lead these connection groups, and so I feel like you can find a place that would feel right for you. We just want to help you grow in your faith and to make sure that you're a part of the Hamilton Hills Church family, okay? Another thing that I help oversee is missions. Last year, obviously, we didn't get to take our missions trips. We had one scheduled to Belize, which is in Central America, and we also had one scheduled to go to Ecuador. And so you may have seen a video of our Ecuador missionary, Paul Fernan, if you've been coming through the pandemic or watching online. So this year we're still planning on doing a fall trip to Ecuador as far as an international missions trip goes. We have to kind of wait and see how all that plays out. We're learning and talking to him about that. I actually met with him this week. We also this year are looking at doing more of what we call Serve the City. So we're talking to Fishers and Noblesville right now, trying to figure out what are ways that we can practically love our community, even during this time when there's still a lot of concern and just a lot of kind of things like that. Hoops we have to jump through. Okay, you'll hear that we partner with local church planners. We partner with church planners far away. We've got one in Arizona, Tucson, where there's a lot of people who need to hear about Jesus, and so we're looking at possibly taking a missions trip to Arizona this year. And then also in Indianapolis, we partner with a guy named Mo, who actually comes to church here some on Sunday morning. He has a recovery ministry. It's called the Yeshua Society, and they help men who literally have just detoxed and don't want to go back to that. They desperately want to try not to go back to that. And so Mo Wowdy is one of our missionaries, and we're weekly involved with Mo, and that's located in Beech Grove. And then also a church planner in Indianapolis who used to be the chaplain for the Colts. We're getting more involved with him because he's helping a whole lot of families and spreading the gospel, and he's been very faithful And it's just a hard work, guys. It's just a hard work when we kind of joke about being in the bubble, but when you get outside of the bubble, it's just so much need out there. And so we want Hamilton Hills Church to be the kind of church that builds bridges and walks across those bridges to help point people to Jesus, okay? So there's a lot more I can say, but Dave, I've probably said more than I was supposed to. So, all right. Any questions? So our connection group semesters are set up 10 weeks. I should tell you this. Strategically right now at Hamilton Hills, we're running a 3-semester a year strategy of connection groups. And the reason for that is when you make a commitment to be a part of a small group, it kind of puts a stress on your life, you know, because your commitment, it needs to be yes, right? But then you need to be able to breathe, and so do the leaders and the host home and everybody that's involved. So what we've learned through all these years of small group ministry is that there's a stress that we put on ourselves. We grow, we're in fellowship, but then we need to take a breath, and then we step back in that. One of the things a lot of people like about that is you go, well, that's also a time where you can switch a group, like without it being offensive or it being awkward, because you're going to enter into a little break, and you go, okay, I don't know with all this going on in my life if I need to recommit, or if I need to, or maybe you feel like, you know, you've met more people in the church, and so you kind of feel led to a different direction, to a different group. And we're trying to make all of that okay here in Hamilton Hills Church, right? So you're not locked in for the rest of your life, right, with the same people, and not knowing how, you know, if God is shifting things to do that, okay? Any other? No, that wasn't. I answered my own question. Nobody asked that question. Anything else?
So Randall, to get involved with Rooted next week, register online.
Yeah, we already have 13 people registered. Some from Starting Point, I believe. So, yeah, you can go online and register. Or you can see me in the lobby, and I can sign you up that way. Let me know if you're interested in Sunday or Wednesday. One more thing. On Wednesday, we have foundations, okay? Right now, there's a marriage class. There's a men's group for any of you guys that want to focus on holiness in your life. And then there is a women's group, along with our kids programming and our student ministry programming. And so basically, there's something for the whole family on Wednesday from 6:30 to 8. And if you haven't jumped in on that, it's not too late to show up. We'll help you find the right spot for you. And that's also something that we do in quarters, all right? So, again, when it comes to discipleship, we're trying to cover all the bases so that we can all be growing in our faith. Tim?
Is there anything that goes on Tuesday morning at 6?
There is something that goes on Tuesday morning. Tim is back there, and he's probably going to kill me. But we have... We have online, and you can find it. We have groups that meet all throughout the week at different times. Thank you for bringing that up, Tim, honestly. So Tuesday mornings at 6:30 a.m. for you guys that are hungry for the word and to get up that early and before you go to work. 6:30 a.m. we have a men's study, and it is awesome. And Tim's a big fan of that, and he helps lead that. And I'm a big fan of that. And also, we have a men's group that meets on Thursday. That's a Zoom group. And then we have a women's group that meets on Thursday night. So we have Wednesday night and Thursday night. So basically, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm here for you guys to help you. And there's other ministries that I'm not even talking about, Dave. So please, anytime, come up to me and talk to me if you've got any questions about how you can get involved, okay?
Now's the time to kind of get involved in a connection group as well. Mm-hmm. All right, so there's signups.
Yep, right on the lobby.
Okay,
yep.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
I felt like when you said there's young people leading Rooted classes and old people, I felt like you outed me a little bit, like I'm the old guy, you know, like.
You're an elder.
So old. All right, so Daniel.
Did I miss my opportunity?
But you if you want one right now, it's yours.
I can go quick.
All right, great.
What am I supposed to say?
Just about what you're involved in ministry-wise and how people can
Mike.
get involved.
Cool. So I'm over all the creative stuff. So that's music, that's the tech, the broadcast, all that stuff. We really need people still in the broadcast in the back of the house too. So if you like anything technical related, Brian Hansen kind of helps me lead that, so we'd love to have you. We host people online, so if you're good with words and just encouraging people online, we need that as well. My wife Sandy does that, so yep, love to have anybody that's interested. Anything else? It's pretty good.
Yeah. How would they get involved, or how would, if they
Oh yeah, you could see me or Brian. Brian Hansen's bald dude with the cool beard. He's always running around. Is Brian in here actually? No, not so. Okay, but yeah, if you see Brian or see me, we can get you plugged in.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. So, as I was mentioning earlier, just kind of like Daniel helped oversee that whole process of us going online and kind of what we have today, and even like with having Starting Point online. This is the first time we've done this. We've done the live online time for something like this. So last thing I want to do is kind of walk through some of the structure of the church, kind of leadership, and we'll just kind of end it. We have we kind of look at it as a stool in a sense, like a three-legged stool, kind of our leadership here at the church. And so there's the staff that kind of run the day-to-day operations. We have an elder team, and I'm a part of the elder team, one of the elders, and so we oversee the spiritual aspect of the church. So we meet twice a month, and so our first time we meet is kind of more business stuff and kind of what's going on in the church, what we need to attend to, and then the second time is kind of actually focused on some time in the Word and some time in prayer and praying for you guys as well, praying for the church. So we look at as our kind of as our leadership is kind of really protecting the church and kind of guiding the church and growing, helping the individuals in the church to grow. And so kind of overseeing that spiritual aspect. And so we have 8 elders. There's 5 that we are lay elders, and then we have 3 of the pastors, Mark, Matt, and Randall are part of that as well. So part of the idea is that we'll always have more. Shut the lid on the computer. Oh, okay. That's great. So that's not my computer, but it's Apple TV. So anyway. Yeah, fun. Ignore that, I guess. So we as part of the Constitution or bylaws, there will always be more lay elders than pastors on that elder team, and so we wanted to have kind of a mix. But literally this is brand new to Hamilton Hills. Like, this is our first year as having an elder team. We started the first week of the pandemic, and so we met on a Saturday morning, and we were thinking we were going to have church on Sunday like normal, and we were going to announce the elders at church, and then literally that day, like we got canceled, and so we were like, that's kind of when the stay-at-home order kind of started, and so we, like, as an elder team, we went Zoom for like the first 3 months of kind of meeting, and so it was interesting. It's a brand new situation for Hamilton Hills, brand new situation for us, and we're kind of starting by Zoom, but actually over the course of the last 9 months or so, our team is really, I feel like we've really kind of gelled well together, kind of gotten close, and really kind of have the same vision and heart as we're kind of moving forward with kind of that team. And then the other team has been the deacon team. Deacon team has been around for a number of years here, and so the deacons are looking at more of kind of the caring side of people, and also kind of service, like what are the service things that we need to kind of do within and outside the church. And so if you have any needs, we kind of started the email address care@hamiltonhills.org. So if you have any needs or any caring situations you want the deacons to help you with, care@hamiltonhills.org would be part of that. And so there's, I think, Jeff, who's not here, is one of our deacons. I think we have 6 or 7 deacons right now. We really want to kind of grow that team up into the teens, because we want the deacons to be able to care for a number of people in the church and kind of help oversee a smaller group. Versus like, okay, you got these 150 people, you have, but we're going to get smaller so that actually each person would even know who the deacon would be that would care for them. And so that's kind of our team there. So any kind of caring issues in that as well. So if you have questions about that, you can talk to me. Matt was helping oversee that deacons team for a while. Mark has kind of taken the leadership in that as well now, but having a pastor kind of helping oversee the deacons team. So three-legged stool. We've got the staff, got the elders, got the deacons that are kind of working together as we kind of give leadership to the church. And so any questions on that? It's still going. Any questions on leadership? Yeah.
In terms of like church-wide decisions, is that just an elder staff, or is that a church body?
We oftentimes go to the church body. So like even for the election of new elders, or new deacons this past time, we kind of announce them. If you have an opportunity, if you have anything positive or negative to say about them, we want to have an opportunity to do that. When we did the bylaws a couple of years, like last year, we rewrote our bylaws, kind of gave those out to the church. Here's a couple of weeks to kind of look at it, and we kind of had a vote of if you're for the new bylaw changes. And so we'll bring a lot of those things to the church. If we have an elder situation, we didn't bring any new elders on, but we wanted to do that in the future. So as we bring new elders on, we would give that, we'd kind of do a bio to the church. Here's the two guys we're considering, and there's an opportunity for 2 weeks for people to give feedback, and then kind of make a decision based on the feedback. So we really want the church to be a part of the decisions we're moving forward. So budget came out last couple weeks ago, or maybe in December. So the budget went out, and we was kind of like, here's the opportunity to look at the budget. If you have questions, you can talk to one of the elders or the staff about that. So we really want the church to be involved, you guys to be involved. It's not like come and give your money and just be quiet. No, that's not it at all. So in the back of your booklet, you'll see there's an opportunity for you guys if you kind of went through this and you kind of know where you're at. Like we know we want to be members, and we're actually kind of changing members to partners. We want to be a partner with Hamilton Hills. If you kind of know that already, go ahead and you can fill that out. And since we got a little bit of time before the next service starts, you can give that to me, which I'll give to Matt. If you want to think about it now as a couple, we'll actually have I'm going to kind of change the name, Luncheon with the Leaders, because lunch with the leaders but we're going to be a luncheon. So we'll be lunching with the leaders next week. If you want to talk about your spouse about that or think about that, feel free to fill that out and bring that to next week to the lunchtime. But what we want to do is kind of we really want you guys to be considered partners. And so we can look at, kind of the gather, grow, and go. But we also we want you guys to be involved here, growing personally. We want you guys to be serving in some ways. And we want you to be giving as well. And so that partnership agreement really is kind of having those three things in mind, to kind of be involved, kind of serving, and kind of giving as well. And so thankfully, there are a lot of churches who, through this pandemic time, are struggling financially. And I'm not trying to be, this is not a prideful or boastful thing, but Hamilton Hills, we're not. And it's because the people, our partners are giving. And it's been one of those things where we didn't have to make church cuts or staff cuts. We've had churches, I've known many churches where their staff were kind of, they had to let them go because they didn't have the money. And so we are so thankful, just the people that give and our partners in the giving that's been going on here in the midst of the pandemic. And so, and some people are struggling, and then we've been able to help out people with meals and things that they need because they're struggling with the pandemic. And so, so that's a for when we talk about giving, it really is a vital thing. All the things that we're able to do in the church is because of the giving that you guys are part of with us. And so, so we'd love to have you. Like I think as Matt said, if you kind of came for the last couple of weeks and you feel like, what, Hamilton Hills isn't the place for me, we're okay with that. We want you to be at the place where God would want you to God would have you. We would love that to be Hamilton Hills, but if it's not Hamilton Hills, we want you to go where God's calling you, so you can really serve and be a part of another church maybe that would be more needed, or where your gifts would be needed. And so, but on the selfish side, we'd love to have you stay here too. We'd love to have you be a part of Hamilton Hills, and part of that. So any questions with kind of like the partnership agreement, kind of signing up? We're actually going to we kind of have, if you've been going here for a while, We haven't done this for a while, but we're going to reinstitute it. We're actually going to have you guys come up at one of the next future services, so everyone that kind of filled that agreement out, just to kind of basically say hi. You don't have to say anything. We're just going to have you come up. Here's our new members. Here's the names of the new members. Say a quick prayer over you, but we want the church to kind of acknowledge that you guys are kind of come and join with us, and let those that are kind of part of the church know that, hey, you guys are now partners with us as well. And so we'll kind of do something like that in the near future. So I think Shelly and I's group was the last one to do it. And then we've been here for like 4 years, and we kind of got away from that. And we were talking to an elder team recently. We're like, we need to get back to that. That was a good thing to kind of just actually acknowledge those that are kind of, new to the church and kind of new with partnering with us. And so, Shelly, let me read off those that have already registered for the lunch, and anyone that she doesn't say that we know that you're coming. We want you to RSVP for the lunch, only so we have enough. We know we need what we need for childcare and what we need. We have enough food. We don't want to run out of food. That would be a bad thing. So, do you have a list of people that you either need to see or that you've already know that's coming?
I already know the answer, put it that way, for the Frisbees, the Pages, the Wilkins, and the Wrights.
Okay. So.
If you did not say your name, then if you could just come let me know whether you will or will not be able to join us next Sunday, that would be great.
So it'll be after second service. So if you go to second service and just kind of like after you're done here, kind of go over to Debbie Bray's house. That's where we'll be at. And then we'll kind of, because we'll all be there before the pastors because they have to kind of wrap up things here. So we'll kind of eat, and then the pastors will come and they'll kind of have a little time with us as well. And Mark's, it's always fun to hear Mark's story, even how Mark ended up here, and kind of a little bit about his background as well. And so, and it's just a casual time then afterwards, just to kind of hang out and meet some of the pastors if you haven't had an opportunity to do that already. So if Shelly didn't give you your name, go ahead and see her. I'll be sticking around if you want to give me those partnership agreements and any questions you have. So thanks for coming, guys. The online people, thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you next week after second service at Debbie Bray's house.